Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Addy back with another Torchlight Infinite build for you for this season of Arcana Season 7, and I have a build special for you today. This is going to be Carino 3 Rapid Advanced Split Shot. We're setting this up as a Strength stacker instead of a Dexterity stacker, and this build I actually yoinked off of a good friend of the channel, Void241. I'll throw him a follow on Twitch. He doesn't have much Torchlight Infinite content for you on YouTube, but he's definitely got something cooking almost every season on Twitch. So I'll go ahead and I'll keep a link down in the description for that. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick demonstration video just to show you how the build looks and feels, and then we'll get into a little bit more of the specifics. If you don't care about seeing the video, I'll go ahead and leave a timestamp down below where you can skip it, okay? All right, so this is just going to be a quick demonstration. We are doing this in a tier 8 map with triple compasses. Right now, I decided to start this character fresh, and everything that he's found, he's had to farm and sell himself. So he started on a 30 fee budget, and we've just progressed him over the last couple of days. We started with 30 fee on like almost no damage, right? We could barely do tier 7s. We're currently now at this point in the game, we're probably about 25 billion. We can do profound canvas. We're not quite ready for profound maps, but we're almost there. A little bit more farming, and we will definitely be able to do some entry-level profound strategies. We can't do everything yet, of course, but you know, at least we can get our way into profound. And then the goal for this build is going to be to take it all the way to deep space. So I'm going to continue playing this build until we can get there. So if you have any interest in seeing how the build progresses, of course, you can go ahead and hop onto Twitch or YouTube. I stream to both platforms. Anytime I'm live, and I'll probably be playing this. The main point of this build is to be playing Splitshot, right? Splitshot is super comfy. And once you have the special support on Splitshot, it turns it into a channeled skill. So right now we are using this right here. This is Rapid Advance, right? The supported skill becomes a channeled skill, which continuously fires projectiles at enemies within a certain area, which is how we are able to channel the skill and continue to move. It's no longer a static standstill attack. It is now a channeled skill. And we are able to do so while moving, which is great. I'm not going to read any of this. It doesn't matter to me. We are strength stacking, which means we're getting a lot of our damage. Almost all of our damage is coming from strength. So we're going to be using Magnus items. For example, we're going to be using the Magnus chest, the helmet. We've got the gloves. And I will, of course, I do have a couple of different snapshots to share with you to show you the build's progression. But this is pretty much how the build works. We just, you know, spin to win through maps. We're pretty comfy, I would say. I very much enjoy this build. I was looking forward to playing it sometime this season. I never got a chance to play it last season when Mr. Void was iterating on it, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to do so, and that he also did not mind me sharing this with you all since he's going to be playing something else. But yeah, like I said, it's super comfy, right? We're just spinning to win. Wide Borpa spin. If you know, you know. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just finish up with this map, and then I will go ahead and give you the nitty gritty of how I have the build set up now. And again, I will have progression snapshots down below that you can use to follow. All right, map's done. Let's get up out of here. All right, so this is the character as it stands right now. We've just started trying to work our way into our priceless weapon that we've not quite finished crafting yet, but that's okay. We've got the Magnus trifecta, the gloves, the helmet, and the chest armor. I'm trying this out to see if it's something I think is going to be worth getting over a Howling Wind. I don't know yet. I mean, it is more damage, but it's also like, this is like 1,000 V, this is 10 V, so there's that to consider. On the actual skills, let's go through skills first. Right now, I have a split shot, I have diversion, and I have rapid advance. Both of these are going to be special support. So this is the magnificent support. This is the noble. I have a critical strike damage increase. This might not be optimal for me now. I'll have to double check that at a later date. Hunting tempo is amazing. The skill does snapshot. So if you get bonuses to things like X% of damage that happens on your next skill cast, you only use the skill once. So you use the skill, it'll get all of those bonuses, and then they just persist the entire time unless you stop channeling, in which you have to get those bonuses again. I'm also using guard for a bit of defense for the barrier. We are blinking right now. We've got some CDR, some quick mobility. I have emergency avoidance on here. I actually need to take this off. This is doing nothing for me. We are going to be getting a lot of our defense through strength, and strength provides bonuses to armor and life. We have a fixate right now with an activation medium elite. We've got a focus shot on a very cheap rhythm. Okay, I know you see a rhythm and you're thinking this is expensive. This is a 1.9 rhythm, about as cheap as it can get. I think I paid 15 fee for this. This is simply here for us to, one, we're putting blinding on enemies so that, you know, that's another defensive layer. But it's also our source of getting our fervor stacks, right? We have fervor and fervor stacks, all thanks to this right here. Fervor's huge. Scorched, we have on the Terrain of Malice. I'm probably going to do what was suggested earlier, and I'll probably swap this to also have an activation medium elite. That way it's only triggering on rares and bosses, because I kind of just, I'd like to be able to see my skill personally. I don't want to turn my opacity all the way down, but I don't like having the Terrain of Malice around me. If you don't mind the Terrain of Malice, go ahead and do the Terrain of Malice. It's all, that's up to you. As long as you're getting your curse in, that's fine. Auras are probably not optimal. Again, I have to iterate on this build as we get our gear leveled up. Right now, I'm using a Precise Projectiles, I'm using a Summon Thunder Magus, and I'm using an Acute Imbueness with a Cataclysm. I'll show you why we're using this in just a moment. And we're using Cataclysm because we need Affliction. Affliction is super, super important on this build, and I can give you just a quick glimpse into why that is in just a moment. And since we've got skills pulled up, I'll go ahead and show you the candles as well. I have a max channel stacks and a poison immunity here. And then on the second one, we just have channel stacks with some attack speed and damage. We definitely want to get up to our max of 10. I'm currently only at 9 because we've made some changes. Again, I'm still iterating on my gear, so you know, it is what it is. For now, we're at 9. I'd like to be at 10, but until we get to 10, we take as many as we can get. Those candles are not very expensive if you just want that mod. If I can show you that candle with just the max channel stack, you can get those for like 30 fee, right? So nothing crazy there. When I first swapped over to gear to this setup, all I had was Howling Wind. I had gloves, helmet. I did not have the chest. The chest came later. The chest is about 1,500 fee. It was. Let's see how much a chest is right now. Yeah, chest is about 1,500. So that's something you may need to work toward if you don't have that on hand. The gloves and the gloves and the helmet, however, combined will cost you maybe 300 or 400 total. On our gear right now, we've got a weapon that we're working on. I can show you my old weapon as well. This is the weapon that I was using beforehand. I posted it for a stupid price. Nobody's gonna buy it for this much. But it's just strength, fire damage, projectile damage, right? Gear crit and gear attack speed. These are gonna increase your bases. These are super important. And then we got elemental damage. If you're looking for a pure T1, no priceless weapon, this is pretty much what you're gonna want on there. And then we did Dreamcraft and get a lucky Tenacity Blessing, which is important because we are stacking Tenacity Blessings. As for our tree, we are currently in God of Might. Our first sub is Warlord, and our second sub is going to be Ranger. In God of Might, we are taking Tenacity. That gives us +1 Tenacity Blessing, and we get Tenacity Blessings on hit. We're taking Great Strength. This reduces our attack speed because it gives us 30% additional attack damage. We're getting the attack skill levels. We're getting tenacity stuff. This right here, this is a perfect example of a snapshotting mod. 12% additional fire damage dealt by the next main skill every 1 second. When we cast our skill, it will snapshot all of those bonuses, and until we stop channeling, we get all of those bonuses. We are strength stacking, so of course 1% fire damage per 6 strength is amazing. We've got projectile speed, and critical strike rating. This lost value now that we're not using the Howling Wind amulet. However, we still want that critical strike rating, so it's still good. And then of course attack speed and damage. With this build, very, very important, you want to get up to at least 10 attacks per second on your character sheet, right? So if this right here, this number, if this is not at least 10, if it's like 8.9 or 9.5 on your character, you're going to want to get something to help push those your attack speeds up. You want to get agility blessings, or you could change out one of your supports to use a quick decision, but you really want to get to that 10, and then after that you're really pushing for like solid numbers on that. So if you can go from 10 to 11, that'll be great. 10 to 10.5, maybe not so much. There's some weird stuff going on there that Mr. Void did test quite extensively, and so you really want to hit like solid numbers of like 10, 11, 12 on your attacks per second, and you really want to reach 10 at a minimum. Going back into talents, once we go into Warlord, we're picking up Rock. This is giving us a ton of fire penetration, and we get True Flame. True Flame is the star of the show here. What this says is when an enemy is ignited, 60% of your affliction bonus is applied as additional damage to your attacks. If you have, when you have affliction on there, if you're at max affliction baseline, you're getting 100% additional damage, which means that this is giving you 60% baseline, 60% additional attack damage. But this also works with affliction effect scaling. So if you had 30% affliction effect on your character somewhere, this would be 130 additional dot damage, right? 130 times 0.6 is 78. So if you had 30% scaling here, you would get 18% additional damage on top of the 60 you're already getting. This is nuts. And this is also why we have the setup in our skills that we do. We specifically are using a Scorch to get chance to be ignited, and then we're using an acuteness imbue that is applying Cataclysm to give us our affliction, and it's also giving that affliction additional effect. So we're getting massive scaling from there. I could show you my damage really quick.
Please select the calibration.
Let me stack up my let me stack up my stuff real quick. Get all my tenacity blessings, get my stuff. All right. So this is the damage we're doing right now. Right? Like I said, we're not quite, we can do profound canvas. We're not quite ready for actual profound maps. Watch what happens if I take that off. If I change this to something else, right? Here, I'll change it to this because this will give me nothing. Watch what happens to my damage. That keystone, that is so much of our damage. It's insane. So just be aware of just how important that is. And then in Ranger, we're taking shooting arrows. We're getting additional damage here, but we're also getting knockback distance. Knockback distance double dips in a couple of ways. Knockback distance, not only are we getting actual knockback, we're also getting additional damage because of our hero, and we're getting increased damage from it because of the tree, right? So if you come down here and look at the end of the Ranger tree, we have this node, 150% of the increase/decrease on knockback distance is also applied to damage bonus. So we're getting increased damage from knockback here, and we're also taking knockback distance on the tree. And also, as part of our hero trait, our last hero trait, for every 2% knockback distance, we get 1.2 additional percent damage, and it stacks up to 40 times right now. And we can scale that with hero trait levels as well. So this could go even higher. So right now we're getting 40 stacks of 1.2% additional damage from that. On top of the increased damage that we're getting from the Ranger tree, it is an incredible source of damage scaling on this build. For hero traits, we are full side on the left. So left. This is what we're going to be taking. I've got strength here. I really prioritize movement speed right now, just so we can move around faster. We do not have a movement ability to spam really. We have blink on a cooldown, but again, that's on a cooldown. So movement speed is going to be your friend. This is about how fast we're moving while we're in town, of course, because we've got the movement speed on our slates, or excuse me, on our hero memories. We've got a bunch of T1 items right here. Nothing's been upgraded past that point. Yeah. And again, I've got snapshots for this build for you to see. If I go into the creations, I've got a ton. You see Trash to Treasure here, day one. This is the pre-swap right here. So we were using Praise for Injury, Flaming Evil, Blinding Evil, things like that. This is what we were looking at after we did our first swap. So we got our gloves on, our helmet on, T2, T3 stuff, you know. On your pedigree, you really want to get focus on your pedigree. And then you want to get a second mod that you can use to complement you. I am personally using Open Wounds for the critical strike damage because we're getting trauma from our aura. So our aura is giving us both the critical strike damage for having trauma afflicted on top of giving us cataclysm. And then of course, if you come and you look at my pack spirits, I'm actually using a Kismet to give me a lot of crit strike rating because we're against traumatized. Again, that's something you can look into, but you don't have to. There are other ways that you can do this. There are tons upon tons of things that you could add to this build on your pedigree to get you situated there. As far as pack spirit goes, I do want to show you. Other than this Kismet, everything is a strength destiny, all of it. You're just going to have to go through your pets and figure out what nodes are going to be best for you to get rid of. I tend to get rid of things like, so like down here, this is a damage reduction pet down here. And I have right here, this was like experience nodes that I got rid of. This is like percentage attack that I got rid of, percentage attack. We kept multi-strike and I had multi-strike nodes. So I went ahead and overrode those. Is there anything else that I really want to show you about the build right now? Slates, again, on your pedigree, you want focus and then something else. You want to be stacking strength, like strength works, affliction effect works. My slates are not great. Just got like strength and some affliction effect here. This has got like armor stuff. This has got the strength stuff. These are all, you know, you can only have one of these on your slate. So armor, max life, and armor down here. That's about as good as we can do for now. Slates are a bit of an expensive area on the build, unfortunately. If you want to see how to get this set up, of course, again, I really want to reiterate that I have snapshots that I will be linking in the description. All of the snapshots that I currently have, I will put down there. Okay, so this was end of day 1, right? Like, look at the gear, like tier 3. This is tier 3 gear. Like, look at the weapon. Look at the slate. The slate was pretty bad. Perception. We didn't even have some of our slots. We were like, our candle was just a movement speed candle. The memories were terrible. So we did progress this from a pretty rough state. Okay. If you follow the beginning, if you want to follow a tree, don't follow this one. I use this to level, but you don't really need to. If you're getting the build set up and you don't have your strength stacker stuff, then I would follow this tree specifically. But the moment you're able to get your helmet and you're able to get your gloves, I would probably just go ahead and make the swap over to the strength tree, which is this one, and follow that as your guide, because it is a ton of damage. You could definitely push this into T8s even before the strength swap on a very low budget. If you've got any questions, please feel free to drop them. You can either ask myself during a live stream if you don't want to do that. Appreciate you all. If this is something that you're interested in, let me know. And maybe throw a like and a sub on the channel. I appreciate you all, and I hope you have a good evening.